Hello and welcome back, everyone, to Rocket Rabbit Commentaries run through of the Legacy of the Void campaign. And in this episode, we'll be continuing and finishing the Purification mission of Endion in the Legacy of the Void campaign. Also, we're throwing down a bunch of pylons over here for the additional psi it provides us, and to get these photon cannons up and running, even though they are, singular photon cannons and are therefore not actually all that important.
The core.
Yes, the core matrix that we are just putting these pylons around. Also, we put in an annihilator here. Mwah. Now, my personal recommendation for this mission is to not actually do what I'm doing here and go after this this easternmost one. I actually recommend that you go and do the upper right null circuit first, because although it's significantly heavier defended than the other three, it also gets rid of the primary threat of the Zerg taking the upper path against the core matrix. That way, the thing that Pascaret is worried about doesn't actually have that big of a chance of happening.
Yep, they're bringing back the burrow hybrids, the hybrids that spring up from the ground? Question mark.
No, the Nidus worms are not here, thankfully.
Oh, I'm not talking about Nidus worms. I'm talking about warp hybrids. Hybrids that could just appear out of fucking nowhere.
We've never had to deal with those, and I'm relatively certain that those aren't things that we have to that we ever have to deal with the campaign, at least on a mechanical sense. I mean, for a storyline sense, sure, that's a thing that exists, but I'm relatively certain that it's not a mechanical thing that we ever have to concern ourselves with.
One thing's for certain, though, is that it brings back strong reminiscences of Star Fox 64 and the boss icon on the minimap. Like, oh no, here comes the boss. He's heading right for us.
Its solarite memory lattice has grown irreversibly unstable. We should disable it. At least we can put its solarite to use.
Getting the bonus objective in this map requires you to have a pretty sizable force to take that down. Not because the unit itself is all that difficult to take on with a sizable force, but because it does a pretty significant amount of single target / spread damage. Hey, Colarian.
Executor Clolarian, your deeds are taught to all Templar, even to this day.
Cease your adjuration.
Why do you seek the Purifiers?
Why, indeed.
You were created to protect the Empire, yet we did not treat you as you deserve.
Sentinel Zealots, more Sentinel Zealots, and Sentinel-style Stalkers that we never actually get access to. We do get access to Sentinel-style Sentries, though. I think those are not called the Havocs, because that's the Tal'Darim ones. I forget what the Sentinel-style Sentries are actually called.
You will aid us in purifying this.
The Tempest. No, it's not Tempests. Whatever the fuck the Sentinel-style Sentries are, grant the ability. Grant the ability of nearby units to have increased attack and movement speed. It is honestly a really, really good steroid to have them in your force. However, I still prefer the Ire Sentry, specifically because the shield regeneration that we get from having the Ire Sentry specifically is a better combat steroid in my personal opinion than the attack steroid. You wouldn't think that about me, to be perfectly honest.
Nothing ventured. No knowledge gained.
But yeah, we actually get to see the Purifiers going and curb stomp one of the 4 Zerg hatcheries on Cybros if we want to. I mean, there's no point in us actually watching them, but it is something that you could do. Alright, and charge!
Death.
Unacceptable. Spam Shadow Cannon at him. Just spam it.
Oh no.
But yeah, the thermal lance that he's got hits all of the units on the line that it hits really, really damn hard. So microing your forces to make it so that you're only getting a hit, only one unit at a time is getting hit with it is very important.
I see, because it goes in counterclockwise motion from the first hour to the second hour every single time it attacks.
Yep. But we got it. Now we just need to reinforce we need to reinforce our units so that we can actually go and finish the rest of the mission. Because from here, all that we really have to worry about is the core matrix getting ambushed on the top row. And you'll notice that I've not actually set up any significant defenses that I'm attempting to correct now as this wave of hybrid is coming in.
Attacking from the northeast. They're trying to break through our nexus point.
Oh, we got an invasion on the way.
Yes, as Pascaret is mentioning here, Matrix Overload is an amazing passive. It's the one that allows our pylons to grant us an additional attack and movement speed for 5 seconds, or as long as we remain inside the power field. It is very nice.
Amon Zerg are just toying with us now. Sending these
Well,
little
no,
whelps.
we're making that claim, but it's just objectively not true. Amon Zerg do not toy with their prey. Amon doesn't have time for that bullshit. He is quite a bit in a rush now to finish his host body, and so the sooner he can take us out, the better it is for him. Like it's an interesting aspect of the story that never gets touched on. The whole reason that Amon takes out the firstborn slash the Templar empowered by the Kala is because the Kala itself is where Amon is choosing to reside whilst he is building his host body. So when Zeratul frees Artanis and the Dark Templar that Zeratul brought aren't affected, it really puts a pretty significant snag in his plans. He was not prepared for us to actually be able to resist him this long.
And so the villain falls of hubris.
Yeah, I mean it's most technically hubris. I don't think that would actually relate it as hubris in general, but that's what it feels like. Very wise.
Intriguing.
You were wise to choose me. I heard you have some ass to kick. I am
The reason
an
that
ass
we're
kicker.
keeping the last null circuit in the northern quadrant up is because I'm trying to get the bonus objective where you clear 2 quadrants within 45 seconds of each other.
Like, okay, I happen to know that the game scripting will not precede the rest of the events that make the game harder until I do this one thing, so I'm going to dance around this one thing and do everything else on the map and say, okay, I guess I'm ready now.
Yeah, this is me cheesing it, but I'm cheesing a mission that is effectively already over. All that's really important for us now is just taking out the rest of the null circuits. And honestly, with a couple more sentries and annihilators, this force can do it. Which is why we're still building annihilators at home. Unfortunately, one of our stalkers ended up locked behind a pylon.
This NPC will not launch the rest of the quest line until you talk to him. You just talk to him. He checked your inventory, and he replied, "You stupid bastard."
And laser them!
Laser them all.
I'm having difficulty finding the third null circuit for here. It's down this way. Guarded by an actual entrenchment.
I have a feeling that Overlord is just going to swing right back to where he was.
But it's an overlord. It can't actually attack us. We're fine.
Poke. Poke.
We don't want the laser. We want weapon reinforcements. Thank you. There.
I do like that we have lots of null circuits to take out.
Yeah, we have a
12 is
total
lot
of 12
stops.
null circuits to take out.
Keeps us busy. Keeps our mind on the task.
Don't worry about that. That was just us warping in some from zealots. Some zealots in order to make the photon cannon wall up there slightly better.
It's not quite the March of Death, but it's pretty close to the March of Death.
Yeah.
These guys would get wiped out by a single hybrid, though.
Depends on what style of hybrid we fought.
The big kind.
Well, there are multiple big hybrids. I mean, if we fought one of the ones that's got Psystorm, maybe depends on how active we were with micromanaging them. But most of the melee versions of the hybrid, not really. We can take down the melee hybrid relatively easily by either kiting backwards or using shadow cannon on them. That unspent resources tab is looking very, very suspicious, Mr. Cloud. I definitely needed to figure out a more efficient way of having like two robotic facilities up and active during this mission.
Well, it would lead one to believe, by our success in not losing a lot of units, that at least we're not needing to replenish units right now. We're approaching the stage of the game where it is necessary for a contingency force in the back row so that the late mission baddies don't stomp the crap out of us. Well, that is if they do, that we have an answer for late game.
Station at half power.
There. We cheesed one of the achievement objectives. Haha.
The third quadrant is coming online now. Cybros is at 75% power.
Hierarch, the hybrid are moving to strike the core matrix. We must tighten its defenses.
Warp.
Brothers,
Oddly enough, the hybrid that they're referring to are no longer on the minimap.
No, terminate. You just said that, Cloarian. What the fuck?
There they are.
No, it's terminate with extreme prejudice. That's the line. That's the thing you were going for. Nobody just throws around the words extreme prejudice and not make reference to Apocalypse Now.
Is the void.
Written by children of the 80s, I see.
Make sure to kill the creep tumors in order to negate their defensive advantages.
in the name of the many, our triumph is at hand.
Hell yeah, our triumph is at hand. We're 9/12 away to triumph, baby.
Well, slightly further than 9/12, because there's a pretty lengthy cutscene once we actually rescue Cybros from Amon Zurg.
Yay.
But yeah, this is effectively what our Death March squad will look like for the rest of the campaign. Bunch of stalkers, a couple annihilators, and sentries for shield support. I really like the Nerazim faction. It's not my fault that the Nerazim get the best factional variants, okay? I mean, the Annihilator Shadow Cannon is pretty subjectively one of the best spells that the Protoss get access to. The Shadow Charge on the Centurion is a great AoE stun. The Stalker's Blink is a great way to keep your Stalkers out of harm's way, while also rejuvenating their shields. The Dark Archon gets you access to mind control and feedback. Let's see. Trying to think of the other Nerazim factional units. I can't seem to remember them. Oh well. Zap them! Oh, and of course there's the classic Dark Templar that gets the Void Assault spell.
Seals are fully unlocked. Cybros is awakening.
Yay.
Hierarch, Cybros has reached full power, and the Purifers
The windfish is awake.
of the Zerg.
Fight on, brothers. Slaughter them to the last.
And now we get to show off just how powerful the Purifiers are, specifically the Cybro ship itself.
The core is activating. It's going to fire.
Lorian, what are you?
Commencing purification.
Uh-oh. He's gonna kill everybody without distinction.
Well, that is what they were programmed to do, after all.
Well, you know, it's kind of like cleaning a floor. You can have furniture on the floor too. You can have dust on the floor. But when you take a nuclear-powered mop and wastewater made from magma and radioactive materials, you're gonna destroy everything except for the floor, the good and the bad. You got no furniture, but it's nice and clean.
Don't forget the tier guards.
Stop it, Obo.
Charging the laser. Yes, Cybros from out of orbit has the ability to generate a ground level storm with this fucking attack.
Icarus is online.
And yes, Pascardet likes Ender's Game.
Biosigns disappearing. The surface of Endion has been cleansed of life.
Of all life.
Yeah, that's the kind of firepower that Tassadar was messing with in StarCraft 1. And in the next episode, a little bit of fallout from that as we continue on to one of my least favorite missions in the campaign.
Don't
Not my
tase me,
least favorite. We
Cybros.
already did Temple of Unification, but pretty close. Be safe, everyone.
Dated jokes.